might want to do it yourself too. Don't let her do that, right? Before you hear about it. Robert, how are you?
Good, Chris, yourself?
Wonderful as you.
Thank you for the birthday wishes.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Now, if you got any extra passes for, your
Who did this?
the golf tournament, for I could send my daughter and her friend. She keeps bugging me, going, "Who do you know that's got passes? I want to
I'll
go."
let her know.
Yeah, so
See if I can
she
get
just
that.
cares about the
Send
concert.
me a message.
All right, I got you. She,
That's the fridge that we're gonna put in there. Yeah, I've had it for a couple
Come
years.
get your raffle tickets if you haven't done that yet. The pot's somewhere shy of $3 million, give or take a couple zeros.
last Friday.
Timmy?
This guy.
Brother, how are you?
So you didn't answer the 4 questions. What don't we know about you?
I'm a twin.
He's the evil twin now.
Why did you join?
Well, old George Hawk and Babe Hawk sort of grabbed me and said, you need to be involved. So I'm part of the Hawk lineage.
Why do you stay?
Well, my friends are here. There are a lot of my friends.
What are you going to do to make it better?
Keep working on the car show.
Keep showing up, right?
Yeah.
See, now you're off the hook.
Sorry, brother. I didn't mean to screw you up, you know.
We're good.
Sort of a dinosaur. How are you?
Good. It's funny, I was met John Duvall over at Putney's, and I can't go in there without thinking of you.
Well, it's good. I mean, at least you had a beer or something.
I had a beer, and I had their fish sandwich on Friday. It was great.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't been there for a long time.
I've been forever since I've been there. But John is like a regular. He's, hey, John, where do you want me? He's like, let's go to Putney's.
Is that right? Well, cool.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you got him back involved.
Yeah, well, it's good to have him back in Tucson. You know, it's got to get him back in Tucson before he can get involved.
And I'm so happy we're back downtown.
Oh man,
I mean,
I am completely with you. I think it's the smartest
it's
thing
the
we could have ever
place we
done.
need to be. We can grow here. And, you know, we don't have to put up with all the DoubleTree bullshit.
And we'll
You know, the new owner.
And we'll actually get good.
The ones I've had are good.
Well, it looks like we're
How's
waiting on some
Janine?
people. She's doing great. Thanks for asking. She's doing super. She's a little bit more conservative with this getting out than
Well, Diane's been that way too. You know, I've been more than willing to go here and there, but truthfully, I haven't been to Rotary in, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks.
well, but you're
And
still
4
involved.
blocks
You're still,
away,
I know.
and it's perfect. I mean, if it wasn't raining, I would walk. I should walk.
You should walk. Put on your raincoat, man. This is nice weather. Okay, I guess I better get started. Fellow Rotarians and guests, welcome downtown to the Rotary Club of Tucson. We're going to get started with Vicki Jacobs coming up to do our pledge and song. Vicki joined our club in April of 2003. Her classification is real estate sales. I think you know she's with Terra Antigua. She's a graduate of the U of A, and after she does the pledge, she'll lead us in singing of the God Bless America. Vicki.
Yay!
I
Lots of admirers.
All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And what's our song? All right. So God bless America. God bless America. See, no. America, land Thank you.
You got a nice voice.
Thank you. You guys, please be seated. Chris, thanks for your amazing ability to multitask. Completely cracks me up. So just a reminder on COVID protocols. We're still under them, and if you do get up and walk around, we're asking people to mask up when you do that. So if you just think about that. I also just wanted to remind you about the blood drive today. For those that have signed up, don't forget. I also want to just really quickly announce a funeral announcement, if I might. A funeral announcement, if I might. So I think you know that last week we heard the horrible news that Jerry's wife had passed, Eleanor had passed, and please note that the memorial service is going to be on Friday, March 14th at 11 o'clock at Tohono Chul. Jerry's here if you want to say something. I'm sorry, March 4th. I have March 5th in my notes, so it's March 4th. I believe that is a Friday, Jerry, right? Yeah, Friday, and that'll be at 11 o'clock at Tohono Chul. Also, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence, if I might. Arnie Jacobson's daughter, Kristen, passed away from cancer in January, and cards are being passed around, so if you can jot a little note to both Arnie and Tony, that would be great. Just a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Now for the inspiration, I'm going to call up Mitch Pisik. Mitch joined our club in March of 21, Business Service Consulting. He owns the Pisik Group, and he's a graduate of the University of Illinois. Mitch.
Join me on a journey that began 29 years ago, a journey that ultimately changed a life, a journey that ultimately impacted our community, a journey that ultimately resonated with us in this room today. Imagine, if you will, a wayward, belligerent, argumentative, sardonic, too clever for his own britches, sassy 17-year-old boy. You're thinking of the same person that I am, and you're all correct. That troublesome 17-year-old smart aleck kid continues to be known by the moniker of Mark Irvin. Young Mark is sitting at his grandma's kitchen table. She looked over at Mark, tousled his unkempt and prematurely gray hair, and bestowed upon him the words that changed everything. Mark, how do you want people to remember you? Write down now what you would want your obituary to ultimately say about you, and live your life accordingly. Sage advice indeed. Consider all that Mark has done for this community over the years. Consider what all of us, every Rotarian in this room, has done for our community. Recognize how often all of us, every Rotarian in this room, has touched those in need in our community. Appreciate how innovative, important, impactful are all of us, every Rotarian in this room. Although we have not met Mark's grandma, all of us, every Rotarian in this room, has clearly followed her advice to be the kind of people who consider giving back a top priority. And Rotary is a perfect vehicle for us to be so and to do so. The citizens of Southern Arizona appreciate how congenial, considerate, compassionate are all of us, every Rotarian in this room. They appreciate that we do the right thing for the right people at the right time, the right way. Our obituaries will highlight what each of us, every Rotarian in this room, has done. Mark's grandma would be proud of us.
Thanks, Mitch. By the way, that's true. I did ask my grandmother many years ago during a very interesting time of trouble to give me the best advice she could, and that's what she said. Marcus, go home, write your obituary, and then go live it. Took me a day or so to figure out what in the hell she was trying to say, but once I did, it was pretty impactful. Everybody enjoy their lunch. Mitch, I'll send that check to you later. Thank you for those nice words, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes with our amazing program on the Tucson Rodeo. Please enjoy.
And real quick, if you still want to put in money for the raffle, I'll be over here at the table, so come on by.
We keep showing up, we keep going, right?
What you gotta do.
My world's been great.
Oh, yeah.
Find a place, build it out. You know what I'm just gonna do? Yeah.
And I mean, all of the data that you need.
People working from home, getting this on a daily make move. The graveyard guy was the last one in it. All the parts the next morning they showed up. Started working. And I remember when I didn't even know
Unbelievable.
where we're at. I didn't even know I was moving.
So cool. Thank you. Like your hair.
I'm doing great, thank you. We appreciate it. Oh yeah. Like I said, this will be out of college right now. I don't know.
And how old's your youngest?
14. The way it goes. Getting my other one through nursing school right now.
Well, it's fun when, you finally get done with some of your obligations, getting grown up.
It's like my son really is like Marine over in San Diego. It's like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, we went over for a dance competition. The younger one picked up her sister left off for Irish dance. We go over that. She gets he comes down, we have dinner, enjoyable, quiet. It's not like we were living at home.
Yeah, it's fun how they change and how they appreciate you.
Still bound to pick it up tab, but that's okay.
You bet. I mean, that's an easy thing to do. Well, cool. Yeah, we're still banging away at it. And, not like like it's, you know, seems like everything you get is destructive. And then you get a job and you got to go buy it out and you go, oh shit, I'm already in that pipe.
I had a flood last year. My wife and father got ill and passed away. It's like everything got thrown to the side. I'm like just dying to wait and see what this is going to cost me. I'll go back to the insurance company and say, you know what? It didn't get done. So what extra? I'm going to have to cut corners and do some of the stuff myself.
Well, I just went through that with the water heater. And you had to take the air handler out to get the water heater out. About, you know, just
Up in the middle of the night. So I get up, get ready in the morning, walk in the closet, get my clothes up, staying wet. Underneath the garage wall, our closet.
oh. Yeah, that's a wild feeling when you walk in and you expect it to be dry and the water's in between your fingers.
The carpet squishy.
Yeah. Yeah. You have this praised beef over there at the Doubletree and have that 3/4 fat.
Hard as a rock.
Yeah, this is pretty good.
Putting in the hotels and everything next door. Places on a couple schemes.
And you know, not only this parking garage, but you're building another parking garage. Hey Chief, did Gallagher buy in Alpine or Nutriosa?
Alpine.
Alpine.
I've not seen this place yet.
I saw some pictures, looks really nice.
Yeah.
Had elk out in the backyard.
How can you not like that?
Oh, doing pretty good. That's right.
Welcome back. It's that time to introduce guests and visitors. We're asking our wonderful Sergeant at Arms, Mr. Multitasker, to come up. He joined us back in February of 20. Entertainment, Chris Dodge Entertainment. And as you probably know, he's a U of A grad. Chris?
Question number 1, do you like my bolo tie? It's nice. It's on auction. It's not mine. I will be auctioning it off later today. $150 in value. So think about it while you're eating. Also, I'll be auctioning off basketball tickets later for Oregon State. I think it's tomorrow night. So think about that as well. All right, visiting us from the Kettering Rotary in Ohio. Say hello to David Melkowee. Where are you, David? Hi, David. Welcome. Guest of Monty Clausen. Say hello to Joni Clausen. Hi, Joni. And guest of Charlotte Harris. Say hello to Ruth Hanley. Hi, Ruth. Guest of Marcy Euler. Say hello to Pam Perry. Hi, Pam. Guest of John Harned. Say hello to Mark Sandin. Hi, Mark. Guest of Mitch Pisik. Say hello to Randy Schultz. Hi, Randy. Guest of Jennifer Hoffman. Her dad. Say hello to Mr. Cliff Wood. Hi, Cliff. And happy birthday, Cliff. If I had known, I would have played it for you. Or maybe I'll sneak that in later. It'll cost you, though. And I have one more. A guest of Denise Newton. Say hello to Kristen Mamana. Hi, Kristen. There you are over there. And President Mark, that's all I have for now. Look at the bolo tie one last time. It'll be auctioned off later. All right.
Gotta love bolo ties. If you don't have one, you should have one. So on with our lunch program, I'm going to ask Jim Ronstadt to come up and do the introductions. Let me do a little about Jim. So Jim joined our club in June of 1980. I think you know he's in the insurance business, classification insurance and risk management. He started at Loyola, but he finished at the University of Arizona. And yes, Jim went to Sal Point. He was also our club president in 89 and 90. And something you don't know about Jim is when Jim headed up Parks and Recs, 3 of the Boys and Girls Club's 6 clubhouses are on Parks and Recs grounds. And I would tell you those were the easiest negotiations we've ever had in our life. Jim Ronstadt.
Thanks, Mark. You're all used to the video presentations, but I want you to hear a lot about the Rodeo Parade Museum and the Rodeo Parade itself. So Stan Martin has joined us today. He was a teacher in elementary school for 31 years, teaching band and orchestra. When he got finished with that, he decided that he wanted to get involved and interested in the history of Tucson. He joined the parade committee and was on the board of directors twice. He was publicity chairman, music chairman, and he has, as of last year, become the chair of the museum. If you haven't seen it, you should at this time, and I'm sure he'll tell you about some of the hours. He also is very interested in the Presidio San Agustin de Tucson and is a certified tourism ambassador through Visit Tucson. Herb Reeves, I've known for many years. In fact, we were associate parade committee members at one time before I had too much work at the city. But anyway, he's a native Tucsonan. He's been on the committee for 35 years. He has chaired the committee. He has been on subcommittees for equipment rentals, the museum, operations, and at this point in time, he is very excited about the parade chairman in 1999 and 2000. He is ecstatic about continuing the 97-year tradition of the Rodeo Parade. Herb is the Director of Occupational and Environmental Health and Safety at his alma mater, the University of Arizona. With no further ado, Herb Wagner.
Good afternoon, everybody. I heard some names out here that I recognize. Charlotte from Sal Point as a Sal Point alum, and she used to work with us getting her Sal Point entry in the parade every year. And I heard Marcy Ewer. Hi, Marcy. How you doing? She worked with us at the university, and my son went to St. Ambrose while she was there. And Bob Logan and I are compadres and all kinds of bad things back when we were in high school at Sal Point. So anyway. Now, I won't go into any of that. That's ancient history. So, how many of you here are native Tucsonans? A few. How many are here long enough to be considered native Tucsonans? There we go. That's better. So you all know that the rodeo weekend is the only place in the United States where schools are closed for rodeo. Other places in the United States close it for opening day of hunting and other things, but this is the only place where we do it for rodeo and parade. And that tradition started in the late 1940s and has continued to this day so that children will understand and learn about the Western heritage we have here in southern Arizona. So this year we're celebrating our 97th parade with the Western tradition and heritage rolling through the streets of Tucson. I went one too far. So back in 1925, how did this thing get started? A gentleman by the name of Frederick Leighton Kramer, who was a transplanted New Yorker and was the head of the Arizona Polo Association. He was a polo player back east, and he came out here and got a polo group together. He was a coach of the polo team at the University of Arizona, and he wanted to take his team back east, so he needed to raise funds. So he went to some of the local business leaders and said, well, let's have a rodeo. Because he remembered when he was growing up in New York, the Wild West shows would come around, and in Madison Square Garden and some other places, they would hold these shows, and he thought they were fantastic. Let's do it out here. And the business leader said, you're crazy. Every weekend, our ranchers get together and do it themselves out at their land outside of town. But he convinced them that the thing to do is to invite those folks to come into town, and let's do it here, and let's put on a festival. A 3-day festival where we can have a parade, rodeo, and the whole business. So he convinced them. They put up some money. They helped put it together, and the Polo Association was the group that put together that first parade. And the first parade in 1925 was a 3-day festival. The Arizona Daily Star was a quote in their newspaper. Said there's a 3-day festival to begin with the parade of cowboys and citizens, Indians in native regalia, and mounted police to add color to the pageant preceding La Fiesta de los Vaqueros, the party of the cowboys. So led by the 25th Regiment U.S. Infantry Band in Nogales, Arizona, the parade included cowboys, cowgirls, buggies, wagons, polo players, and finished with the 10th U.S. Cavalry Band from Fort Huachuca. All rodeo participants were required to ride in the parade. And the parade wound through downtown, and of course, the parade route went past all the business leaders and business owners who put up some money on this so that the parade would go by their business, and then led the entire town out to the rodeo grounds, which then was located at where the University Medical Center is now located out there on Campbell, near the subdivision Kramer. The Kramer subdivision was named after Frederick Kramer because that was his land, and that's where the first rodeo took place. Hart Merriam Schultz, also known as Lone Wolf. He was a half Blackfoot Indian who had a striking costume with an eagle feather headdress, which of course is not Southwestern heritage, that's the Plains Indians. But he was the artist who created the advertising poster for the first rodeo that you see there on the slide. He was in the parade also. Get through my notes here. The first parade had over 50 entries, 300 participants, thousands of spectators. They gave prizes in various categories for the biggest hat and the youngest entry and smallest horse, things like this. And some of those prizes were a 75-pound block of ice, 100 pounds of potatoes, and a big cactus ham. So things a little different than they were now, but these were the kind of prizes they gave out. And they were given to the winners in those categories as most typical cowboy and cowgirl, the prettiest horse, most comical costume, the fattest and skinniest horses, and most typical prospector, and the best decorated automobile. Remember, automobiles were fairly new in 1925, so there were automobiles in the rodeo parade up until the mid-1940s when it was changed to an all non-motorized parade. So the participants rode to the polo fields near the current location of the University Medical Center. Taxi fare from downtown to the rodeo was 25 cents. And that was for a party of 4. Automobiles and grandstands were used to line the arena to contain the animals. The University of Arizona band did not participate in the parade, but they did entertain at the rodeo. And it was quite a windy day. You can see from the largest picture there, the trash on the field being blown by the wind. You can see the flag there pointing toward Push Ridge. It was quite a windy day, but it was a great day had by all. Now the rodeo featured 5 events. There were steer wrestling, steer tying, calf roping, and saddle bronc and bull riding. The total purse was $6,650. Special events included truck riders, a wild horse race, lady bronc and bulldog rider Tad Lucas, and that's her there on the ground with the football helmet on with the throwing down the steer, and Jack Brown, who bulldogged a steer from the running board of a Packard automobile. Entertainment in 1925. By 1940, the parade had grown to be an annual event that Tucsonans anticipated with favor. Note the close proximity of the huge crowd to the parade entrance. Those streets were narrow, and those horses and animals right there, you could reach out and touch them. This is one thing that led to us moving from downtown years later. Now the parade grew along with Tucson during the post-war boom, and a longer new route downtown was made and established to create the large crowds that were growing for the rodeo parade. And as you can see here, by '68, the parade had grown. The parade had grown to where the police had a first estimate of over 100,000 people in 1957. And I just want to go back. Whoops, that's not the proof. Where am I at? Whoops. Now note in the picture on the left, the spectators standing at the edge of the roof to watch the parade go by. OSHA does not cover parades. At least parade crowds, let's put it that way. So also by 1968, the parade had grown to over 200 entries and 150,000 spectators. Pneumatic tires were to be hidden to preserve the authenticity of the Old West theme. And again, in the 70s and 80s showed continued growth of the parade, and subsequently the rodeo was larger and larger. By 1974, the parade topped out at 304 entries and nearly 5,000 participants. 29 bands from high schools and middle schools around southern Arizona participated. 29 bands. We have 10 this year. In 1991, the parade moved to a new route during near the rodeo grounds for safety reasons. The new downtown renovations and taller buildings had created narrow streets and a canyon effect. So when the bands would strike up on their tunes, it would echo off those buildings and startle the horses, and we had some very near misses down there. So we decided with the city of Tucson to move the parade down to the area around the rodeo grounds. It gives wider streets, so we have a much safer parade, and it has much better parking and viewing for spectators along the parade route. The 75th parade had over 130 entries, over 2,000 participants, over 500 animals, and 150,000 spectators. We limit the entries to less than 200 now to keep the parade manageable. We got to a point where we would get the parade going, and the beginning of the parade would come back to the staging area before the end of the parade started, and it caused a real problem. We were chasing our own tail. So we've decided to keep it down. Plus our TV coverage, they give us about an hour and 45 minutes, and we can't get a longer parade than that, so we keep it down to a manageable number. Now, over the years, the parade has had many well-known celebrities over the years because of Old Tucson's popularity as a filming location. Many stars would join us in the parade if they were here in town filming. So over the years, we've had many celebrities join us. Like, if we can get them here, Gary Cooper was with us, Gene Autry, William Boyd, known as Hopalong Cassidy, Duncan Ronaldo and Leo Carrillo, the Cisco Kid and Pancho. Rex Allen joined us, as did Chill Wills, Janet Lee, of course Michael Landon, Debbie Reynolds, Tony Curtis, and of course the entire cast of the very popular High Chaparral. Now, the parade committee honors a person every year as the grand marshal of our parade, to lead the parade. And we try to find someone who's well recognized in the community and has done wonderful things for the community. And sometimes we've had them join, have them honored some of our own, like our past wagon master, Roscoe Christopher, and our historian, Paul Grimes. Some of you may remember those names as a band director here in Tucson. We've had political leaders like Senator Carl Hayden as our Grand Marshal. Former Governor and Ambassador Raul Castro and former Secretary of State and Governor Rose Mofford have been Grand Marshals. We've had mayors like Lou Murphy and Bob Walkup have been our Grand Marshal. We've had a former Surgeon General, Richard Carmona, was our Grand Marshal here not too many years ago. Community and business leaders like Roy Drachman, Bill Breck, Seal Peterson, Lute Olson, Jim Click, and Big Jim Griffin, who just passed away not too long ago. Rodeo stars such as Chuck Henson, famous rodeo clown, and bull rider Charlie Sampson, and all-around cowboy Larry Mahan have all been grand marshals of our rodeo parade. We've had movie stars and entertainers like Ben Johnson. Ben, come on. There's Ben. Don Collier. Oops, we're having trouble with the thing. There he is. And Rex Allen Jr. as well as the Sons of the Pioneers, and our own local entertainment stars, the Tucson, Arizona Boys Chorus, have all been Grand Marshals for the Tucson Rodeo Parade. We're very pleased this year to honor Adia Barnes, women's basketball coach at the University of Arizona, as our Grand Marshal this year. So a little bit about the committee. The committee are all volunteers. We have 2 paid employees who are part-time office workers who work from November through March. That's it. Everybody else is a volunteer, just like yourselves. We have 37 active members, up to 15 associate members. We have lots of advisory members like Jim Ronstadt, and Jim was our Grand Marshal also in 1993, I believe, because of his work with the city of Tucson and the work he helped us with down at the rodeo grounds. We couldn't put the parade on without those hundreds of volunteers that come out and join us every year. And the committee itself is broken up into 18 subcommittees, everything from music to floats to horses to the grandstands, selling tickets, things like that. We have people who take care of all of these different partners, things like this. But we can't do it without the partnerships we have established over the years. We have sponsors that both give us in-kind sponsorships and cash sponsorships and help us to put on this parade every year. And we also have some benefactors of foundations and individuals who donate money to the parade and the museum. I will hit on 3 of our biggest assistants, the people that give us the assistance. The City of Tucson. City of Tucson, all these different groups help us with the parade, putting it on, all these different departments. I'm going to highlight 3 of them. The Tucson Police Department gives us our parade permits. They help us with the street closures and obviously traffic control. They're the folks on the street helping us close down those streets and get that under control. They help us with pedestrian and vehicle barricades and obviously crowd control. When you have crowds of 150,000 folks or more, it's trying to keep those folks all corralled is important. Parks and Rec is very important because of the buildings and the facilities at the rodeo grounds are all owned by the City of Tucson and under the direction of the Parks and Recreation Department. They help us by getting the grandstand set up for us and our judges stand that we use. They put up the public address system that we use for announcement, and we also use the city's ticket booths to sell tickets to the grandstands. And finally, streets, because they help us get together a barricade plan that the police have to approve. They give us our traffic routing signage so we can tell folks what's happening a week before they start the signs that say these streets are going to be closed on certain dates. They help us with the traffic control devices, and also beforehand they go through the streets on the parade route and in the neighborhood where we do our lineup and repair the streets, fill the potholes, things like this, so we don't have issues on parade day. Now the parade this year is on February 24th at 9 a.m. Of course, there's free viewing on the streets of Tucson, down there in South Tucson on Ajo Park and Irvington Way. But you can sit in the grandstands for a very low price. You get not only the parade, but pre-parade entertainment. We've got a Waila band from the Tohono O'odham Nation. We've got entertainers from the Chinese Historical Foundation here in town, and also mariachis and folkloricos from Pueblo High School. So that's a great entertainment for $10. It's really worth it. You get the best view of the parade itself. You can also watch the live telecast on KOLD and Azteca 14, which actually sends that Spanish broadcast as far south into Mexico to Guadalajara. And the numbers we get for spectators watching that are tremendous down in Mexico. It's really something. So I will turn this over to Stan, and he will tell you about our museum.
Good morning. We brought some posters, so if there's any of you that have like a storefront that would like to put up a poster advertising our parade, that'd be awesome. They're over on a table in the back. We also brought in some rack cards promoting the parade on one side and the museum on the other. We try to save money putting them both on one sheet of paper there. Tucson Rodeo Parade Museum is located right there on the rodeo grounds. We are known mostly by people that are from out of state and out of the country. When we go back through our records and start seeing where everybody's from, the last 2 years, 92% of the people that visited our museum were from out of state or out of the country. We had 1% of the people that visited our museum from the city of Tucson. So Tucson's filled with a lot of really cool museums, and I think that what the problem is that there's so many of them out there that we almost don't know where they all are. So the Rodeo Parade Museum, let me see if I can get this to go forwards. In the right direction. Yeah, I got the arrow. There we go. Okay, we not only have the museum, but we also do outreach programs throughout the whole year. Up on the upper left-hand corner, we take wagons down to such as Mescal, or we take them down to the Gammons Gulch, which is down north of Benson. It's a movie set, and they rent them for background scenes and that. We also attend sometimes around the university and other events, set up a tent and promote the parade and the museum. And we also participate in other parades, such as the Tombstone Eldorado days, and also down at the Wilcox parade that they have down there also. It's got a delay. So the museum is actually the site of the very first municipal airport in the United States. It was called Mays Field. It was the first one before it moved like 2 or 3 other times before it finally ended up at Tucson International, where it is now. Okay. It became the fairgrounds in 1932. As some of you, if you're a native of Tucson, you might remember going there as a kid. I sure do. The buildings were then given to the parade committee in 1948 as a workshop and to house the growing collection. So what we've got right now is we've got one large building which is still the hangar from the original airport. We also have an adobe structure that's been attached to it where they actually used it for storing animals. It was stables and that for back when the city of Tucson still had horse-drawn vehicles. And then the construction of the actual museum started in 1963. And then right now we have about 140 wagons in our collection, but we only show off about 100 of them in our museum, so it's not so cluttered. Several of the wagons are flatbeds that you'll see that are made up into floats, and when you've seen one flatbed wagon, you've kind of seen them all. We also have Old West Town exhibits. We mentioned that Seal Peterson was one of our grand marshals. We have an exhibit that she actually put together that's there. We have also the front desk and the safe and a beautiful photograph, Ray Manley photograph of the El Conquistador Hotel back when it was where El Con Mall is now on Broadway. We also have a mock-up of the Stork's Nest, which was a birthing center not far from here over on Court Street. And we have one of the birthing chairs that's on loan to us from the University of Arizona Pharmacy Museum. And it looks more like a dentist chair that they just attached a couple stirrups on. All right. When the museum opened up in 1965, we did it in the cowboy style, cowgirl style. Instead of cutting the ribbon, we actually had the rodeo queen ride through on her horseback. Okay, when you walk in through the first gate, you'll see one thing that's a big impact on southern Arizona, and that's copper and mining. So we've got several ore cars there. We also have a couple large wagons that were used back in the day. They were also used in the movie Arizona, which was why Old Tucson was constructed. We have a blacksmith shop, replica of one. We also have several different styles of wagons in there. We have a saddle and a harness display. The saddles have everything from show saddles to side saddles that are used by women. We have pack saddles and various things like that. We also have, as far as harness, we have a rack full of Buffalo Soldier harness from Fort Huachuca. They still have the brass U.S. buttons on the harness. We have an authentic chuck wagon display. This chuck wagon display is on loan to us from a gentleman who actually uses this, well, pre-COVID. He used to use this on 3 or 4, you might call it city slicker style cattle drives in Texas up to Oklahoma. So it is a working chuck wagon. It's a real beautiful setup if you get a chance to come in and see it. We have the train display. This was put together by the Tucson Garden Railway Society. It's about $10,000 worth of railroad equipment that's in this layout. It depicts Tucson from back in 1880, and there's little buttons that kids can push, or even adults, for the saloon, so you can hear the chaos going on in the saloon, mariachis in the Hispanic neighborhood, and the church bell ringing. They are actually going to have we're going to be one of the stops on their tour coming up here in the first weekend in March. We had sporting vehicles, the sports cars of the yesteryear. It's everything from a two-wheel cart to some of the little fast little buggies that are lightweight and very nimble. The sedans, sort of like our Toyota Corollas from back in the day, are there? Sometimes this jumps ahead. Okay. We also had trucks, which is sort of like the on the left. We have that buckboard, which was actually used in several movies, and the High Chaparral. The one up on top on the upper right, you can actually remove the back seat and make it into a little pickup truck. We've got our high-class rides. No, you won't see the one on the lower right in our museum, but the other three. The upper left one is a Brewster. Brewster was a company that two guys by the name of Rolls and Royce, when they came up with a drivetrain for the new horseless carriage, they found a Brewster company out of New York City. And so the upper left one is a Brewster, and it doesn't have front windows in it if you come to the museum, and that's because they used it a lot out at Old Tucson, and they didn't like the glare, especially when Maureen O'Hara was riding in it. So we nicknamed it the O'Hara coach, since she rode in that in several ones. The lower left was used in the movie Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. And the upper right one is the coach from Maximilian and Carlotta, the Emperor of Mexico. And when the governor of Sonora no longer wanted to ride in a carriage because limousines were cooler, we ended up appropriating it. The Antiques Roadshow came through in, The Antiques Roadshow came through in 2006 and 2011, and we're hoping to get them back here in a couple more years. Some of the buses. The upper left one is a station wagon. And if you remember back in the 50s, 60s, we had the Woody station wagon. They were designed off of that wagon up there on the upper left. It was called a station wagon because it would take visitors from the stage station or from the train station to their hotels. The upper right one is a stagecoach that was used in over 40 movies out at Old Tucson. It's called a mud wagon. Down in southern Arizona here, because of the heat and the dust, they didn't use the enclosed Concord stagecoaches like you see with the Wells Fargo coach, because the dust would collect inside and everybody would start coughing. By having the sides open like that, it allowed the wind to blow the dust out. And then the lower left-hand corner is more like our Suntran buses that we have nowadays, complete with rubber tires. We have some English-made coaches, the park drag coaches, which was used by the elite people in England. And it's also known as a tally-ho. If you ever hear of a tally-ho coach, that's the same thing. The front has storage container right underneath where the driver sits. There's a storage box there with drawers that slide out so they could put their dishes and their silverware, their linens and that. And in the back, there's a little box, and that little box is actually an ice box where they would keep their wine. Some of them even had wine holders for their bottles of wine. We have delivery wagons. This particular delivery wagon doubled as a school bus. So what would happen is the delivery gentleman would pick up kids on the way into town. When he got into town, he'd let the kids go off to school, and then he would drop the seats down, and then it turned into your Amazon or UPS or FedEx truck. And then he'd do that during the day, and then at the end of the day, he'd come and pick up the kids from school and take them back home again. We have 3 circus wagons. The one on the left actually was found on the way out on the east side of Tucson, and a lady by the name of Deborah Thompson, she comes in every year to come and see her dad's circus wagon. It actually was abandoned on their ranch out east, and the parade committee restored it as a ticket wagon, and they would haul it downtown to sell tickets to the rodeo and to the parade, and also out to Elcon Mall, and this is all pre-internet. Okay. The upper right one was used probably by children because it's very, very small. And then the calliope isn't really a working calliope. It actually has a cassette deck in it. And right now I've hired a new calliope player. She's married to a rapper who nicknamed her MP3. So that's what plays the calliope music nowadays. I'm sorry. I taught elementary school, so I've got bad jokes, dad jokes. Okay, original snowmobiles. The one on the left, you can actually pop off the wheels and you can slide on those runners. You could buy those runners for $40 out of a Sears catalog back in the 1920s. The upper right sled was used for hauling gigantic logs up in Michigan out of the forest. And then this little one on the right, it disappears every Christmas Eve, and our security camera goes fuzzy, it's gone. And then usually about 4 o'clock in the morning, it gets fuzzy again, and it reappears. And we don't know who's stealing it at that time on Christmas Eve. Some of the municipal vehicles that we have. We have on the upper left, we've got the very first wagon. This is the first fire wagon purchased by Tucson Fire Department. It will actually be rolling in our parade. Tucson Fire Department uses it every year along with the hose reels that are down in the lower left corner. The steamer that's in the bottom there is actually at the Tucson Fire Department downtown here. And the upper right one is the jail wagon, which Tucson acquired after it was used to haul prisoners from the Yuma Territorial Prison to the brand new Florence prison when it opened. And they did that in the middle of summertime. We've got a little wagon that was used by Sunset Dairy. It's a dairy wagon, and out there by Sunset Road, those of you that have been around for a while might remember Sunset Dairy out there. Now there's a big pit out there along the freeway. We've got some other commercial vehicles, such as the lower one on the lower left. Albert Steinfeld from Steinfeld's Department Store had that one built to haul things around town. We also have another large delivery wagon. And then we have some of the example of a flatbed that was used just as a truck, delivery truck for around town. Okay, we have the food trucks. Again, chuck wagon. This is ours from the La Osa Ranch. La Osa Ranch still exists down by Sasabe. It's a kind of a dude ranch, kind of a retreat place now. And so we hope that y'all come out to see the 97th Tucson Rodeo Parade, and also stop by the museum sometime. We have 4 buildings filled with not only wagons, other memorabilia, farm implements, and anything that's horse-drawn around there. So again, the parade happens next Thursday on the 24th, starting at 9 o'clock. And here's a little something from
Hello, I'm Dan Mars from KOLD News 13, your rodeo parade announcer and 2014 Grand Marshal of the Tucson Rodeo Parade. Since 1925, the Tucson Rodeo Parade has been a part of Tucson and Arizona's rich history. Established. Hello, I'm Dan Mars from KOLD News 13, your rodeo parade announcer and 2014 Grand Marshal of the Tucson Rodeo Parade. Since 1925, the Tucson Rodeo Parade has been a part of Tucson and Arizona's rich history. Established to advertise and draw spectators, it featured military bands, cowboys, cowgirls, Native Americans, and mounted police. It was quite a beginning for what has now become one of the world's largest non-motorized parades. The Tucson Rodeo Parade is one of the most loved traditions in Arizona. Generations of Tucsonans have ridden or marched in the parade, and under the leadership of the Tucson Rodeo Parade Committee, it's become so well established, school districts close during the week so families can enjoy the festivities. Many celebrities have graced the streets of Tucson in the rodeo parade, and grand marshals have included governors, politicians, ambassadors, and movie stars. The Tucson Rodeo Parade has become the largest single spectator event in Tucson, with average attendance reaching upwards of 150,000 people. The parade committee also operates the Tucson Rodeo Museum located at the Rodeo Fairgrounds. The museum houses many displays of old Western memorabilia, scenes from the Old West, and a collection of more than 125 wagons, buggies, coaches, and other horse-drawn equipment. The museum provides visitors the opportunity to take a giant step back in time and enjoy the history of Tucson and the Old West. The Tucson Rodeo Parade and Rodeo Parade Museum are truly a tradition of Tucson. Hello, I'm Dan Mars from KOLD.
I think it's great to learn about our tradition. We were kind of razzing if they should pick a best dressed winner or worst dressed winner, and they didn't really get anything out of them. So just wanted to thank Herb Stan. Thank you guys for coming and speaking with us today. They've agreed to stick around a little bit afterwards if you have questions. Jim, thanks for that really wonderful introduction. You're probably wondering, what's the book? B is for Buckaroos. How about that? It's already been signed. This will make its way into our Make Way for Books library as we continue to work on children's literacy. We do have a couple of birthdays we're going to power through. First up, we're going to talk about Tim, or as I call him, Timmy. Everybody's named Tim is a Timmy. Tim's birthday was on February 2nd. He joined our club in November of '74. His classification is construction, repair, and maintenance, commercial. He is with Cobra Building Systems. He is a U of A grad. So what do we not know about Tim? Did you know he's a twin? I didn't know that. Why did he get involved in Rotary? He could not say no to George Hawk. Why does he stick around? Because of all of us. And what's he going to do to make things better? He's going to continue to focus on the car show. Tim?
You're a tall drink of water, isn't he? Well, 48 years in this great group, lots of friends, and I used to remember hearing old folks get up and say, well, I've been here for 40 years. I'm going, woo, I'm here now. So anyway, many thanks. We're doing a great job. We've got this car show down and making money to push on the JTED. Bob and I were just talking that, there's no apprentice programs anymore, so we look to JTED an awful lot for, skilled tradesmen. But thank you very much, and enjoy.
Thanks, Tim. Next up is Robert O'Brien. His birthday was on February 11th. He joined our club in February of '96, classification service industry, telephone answering service, Rincon Communications. Robert, I forgot this, 4 things. So what don't we know? Basically, if you don't know, you're not going to find out. Second, he joined because past President Dick Dobrin asked him. He stays because he loves being involved with a wonderful group of giving individuals, and his plans to make things better is just to continue participating. Robert.
Thanks, President Mark, and yes, I have to thank Dick Dobrin for this. It's been a fun 26 years. So here's my check with the help of Charlotte and her guidance. I get to finish off my middle child's, Paul Harris, and start my youngest, okay? Supposed to have something else here for you, but we'll give you the 30-second elevator pitch. Southern Arizona Irish Dance, my daughter's dance for. The oldest one is in nursing school, so she's a teacher right now. They've been selling tickets for the car show. Last year, they were the largest nonprofit ticket seller for the car show. So 494 tickets. Mark, do you know what our biggest sale was at our spring competition? No. Had a dad from Scottsdale buy $1,000 worth of car show tickets. Wow. So we asked for little help and support. President Chuck, President Bob. We missed President Jen because of COVID, but we ask you to keep supporting the Southern Arizona Irish Dance, have these girls keep dancing and performing around Tucson. Thank you.
History moment. Guess who's going to lead that? Our pal Charlotte Harris. In case you didn't know, she joined our club in November of 2000, classification Education Administrative Secondary. She's a U of A grad. She probably knows a little bit about South Point. And she was our club president in 2008 and 2009. Charlotte.
The 97-year history of La Fiesta de los Vaqueros is parallel with our 101 history this month, with our club's first meeting taking place on February 14th, 101 years ago. And just as our community celebrates Rotary, I tell you, Rotary and rodeo, they're very hard to keep straight, so excuse me while, okay? Say them 5 times together with sometime when you're alone. Anyway, and just as our community celebrates rodeo, with community members dressing in Western clothing, and it's been mentioned, school children have Thursday and Friday off, a tradition at one time the University of Arizona students also enjoyed. Our club members had their own celebrations of rodeo for many decades. In reviewing our Tucson from the 30s and 40s, rodeo is mentioned many times during the month of February, However, printed space and activities were challenged many times with a focus on Valentine's Day and special presentations by fellow Rotarian Coach McHale about Abraham Lincoln. In 1938, the meeting opened with a song, Home on the Range, and the speaker was a Rotarian from the Mesa Rotary Club who spoke about branding and cowboys. In 1939, the club membership had reached 100, and members were fined, if not what was described as in cowboy costumes. In that same year, the first annual Rodeo Party was held, as identified on the back of the photo that's on the screen. The Tucson shares the Tucson and visiting Rotarians and the Rotarians gathered for the event, and it was described as a roundup rodeo held at the Pioneer Hotel Wagon Yard with grub, dancing, music, branding and bulldogging, Western duds, admission was free, and many wonderful pencil drawings of Western activities were shared. During the 1940s, the annual rodeo party held at the Pioneer Hotel is covered annually in subsequent Tucson-tarians, such as the cost for guests was $1, the highlight of the evening being a 5-act play put on by Tucson Rotarians, the singing table's rendition of Home on the Range becoming epic, the Rotarian dressed as the most typical cowboy won a $25 savings bond, the rodeo party announced as a party of whoopee, barbecue and dancing to Porter's Western Cowboy Orchestra. By the 1950s, the price increased to $2.50 for guests. Rotarians continued to be a part of the Rotary gathering. The photo appears to be a procession of sorts of couples in their traditional Western dress. And what would a party be without entertainment? And what would a Rotary party be without horses? In the 1970s, the party moved from one party to Old Tucson. And here we see party chair David Lovett and his wife Gail. David's here today, and let's have him stand and wave. In the photo, they are watching the reenactment of an old Western bank robbery. And again, there was entertainment. Here, Rotarians and Rotarians are watching as a stuntman acting as a villain fall from the roof of a building. Their cheers make one think that he did an excellent and safe job. And there was the tradition of cutting a man's necktie to make it look like a Western tie. In 1975, our club joined with other Rotary clubs and had an entry in the Rotary Parade. Anyway, that's how some of the ways we celebrated over the years. Thank you.
Thanks, Carla.
I don't know about you guys, but I really love those history moments, especially when I see those pictures. And David, Gail really looked good back then. I'm not really sure about you, but we'll get to that. So you guys probably know we've got in addition to an auction, a couple auctions that Chris is going to do. We also have got a few bucks in the kitty. What are we up to now with the raffle?
We reached it. We're over $3,000. $3,017, I believe. That's worth a pig oink. Yeah, thank you. So, can I move on with this and do it?
Absolutely, go.
Let's make it happen. Draw the winning ticket. Like you're being told. You don't have a choice. And then while you're doing that. King of clubs is still there, guys. 1 in 12 chance. Gonna get shuffled in. Pick the winning card. You guys ready? And the winning number is 582134. Yeah! Miss Fridas has won. I have $133 in my pocket for you. And drum roll, do we have the King of Clubs? So close, Mary, King of Spades.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Marin. So, yeah, I'll give that to you as well. This bow tie looks good on me. It's going to look better on you. $150. Who wants it? Somebody please buy it. It's going to scholarship for kids. $150 right back there to Joni. Do I have $175? That's going to go to Joni for $150. $160. It's going to look better on you than me, Joni, by far. So you got it for $150, Joni. I also... Thank you for supporting the scholarship. One last thing, I got 2 tickets to the men's basketball team. Their game tomorrow night against Oregon State. Doesn't matter who they're playing. They're the 2nd or 3rd ranked team in the nation, guys. $100. Is anybody open to go see basketball tomorrow? Mark will take it for $100. Anybody else want to not see Mark go to the game? All right. You got it. Mark has it for $100. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so just a couple of last little announcements. I want to let you know, here's Earth Rotary Fly Fishing Club. You've only got 14 chances left to play, and actually you don't. You only have 13 because I just took care of next week. You're probably wondering who's on the Hall of Fame. There you go. There's your Wall of Fame folks that are on there. And you're wondering who is it this time. Take a look at this. Take a look at Dr. Thompson and this fish. Now, we estimated this fish, but a little over 9 feet. He was, if you've done fishing down and been trolling baits, you don't get all 4 rods. You get some time in the saddle. And if the fish happens to hit when it's your turn, get ready. And that's exactly what happened to you. So, Dr. Thompson, thank you for playing and for your donation to the fund. Although I really appreciate everybody wearing their cowboy regalia today, don't forget, continue that next week because that really is a rodeo week. We are being invited, another announcement relative to JTED. JTED, as you know, we did not give them a chance because they couldn't pick their jaw up off the table. I think they injured themselves when they found how much money we were giving them. So they've been wanting to say thank you, and we'll have plenty of opportunities to do that, but the first one will be the open house that they're going to have on Tuesday, March 8th. That'll be at 4 o'clock. We'll have some announcements going out on that. JTED would love, they're going to have their board of directors and others there. It'd be great if we could have a big group that would show up and just give them a chance to say thank you, give us a chance to go walk through and see what we helped create. So if you're not proud of that thing, you probably missed it. Next up, we've got another club that's doing a Rito River cleanup, and if you'd like to participate and join in that, that is on March 5th from 8 to noon, and you would meet at the Brandy Fenton Park. Just show up. And then Bruce, where's Bruce? I think you've got a little announcement on the hiking club?
Thanks, Mark. In honor of Sid, we're going to do a hike on Tumamoc on Saturday, 7:30 in the morning at the trailhead. Look forward to seeing a lot of you there. And for those that were with me last time I hiked Tumamoc, don't forget, don't park in the medical lots. They tow.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's named in recognition of former member Sid Hirsch. Next, Margaret, I think you've got a little announcement that you're going to do about our 4-way test in Orville McPherson.
Okay, I'm tempted to say tally ho and howdy partner, but it doesn't sound quite right. However, in terms of partnerships, so March the 30th is your deadline time to submit nominations for the Orville McPherson Award and also for the 4-way test award. The Orville McPherson is exclusively to Rotary Club of Tucson members. But if you feel, and I'm sure you do, you feel that somebody really, really, really needs to be recognized, then please submit their name and the awards committee will consider them for the Orville McPherson. And then secondarily, we have the 4-way test award. And this is for somebody who's not a Rotarian, but who's a local business person perhaps. However, a local person who exemplifies our 4-way test tenets. So please put in your submissions by March the 30th, and we anticipate having the awards actually given out in May. I think one is in the 2nd week of May and one perhaps in the 3rd or 4th week. However, those dates are later on. Until then, remember March the 30th. The forms on the back table, and you can submit your nominations via email to me, or of course in person. Thanks.
Real quick, I need help, and Drina will be very grateful. On your way out, there's a little sign-up sheet. Can't miss it on that table right by there. If you're able to do a mystery edit for a meeting upcoming or be a greeter, could you just sign up on that list on one of the dates? That's all. I'd really appreciate it if any of you guys would volunteer, because that's what we do here. We volunteer. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Can we get Faye to stand up real quickly? Now, I'm not going to say who I think is the best dressed guy, but I'm thinking Faye is going to win for the best dressed woman. Huh? Faye, thanks for playing. You look great. So, in closing, I just wanted to say thank everybody for joining us today, whether you're in person or virtual, whether you're a guest or a member. If you want to learn a little bit more about Rotary, just reach out. We'd love to talk to you. If you'd like to donate to our scholarships, those cups are on the table. Please feel free. Don't forget to return your badge. If you don't have your Rotary pin, shame on you. They're on the back table. Tim, Robert, happy birthday to you guys. Next week, our keynote speaker is Curtis Dawson, our very own. He's going to be talking about the YMCA, and that should be really fun. We'll have the YWCA in probably a couple weeks after that. If you're not ready for March Madness, and I'm not talking about the basketball, I'm talking about our membership drive, you're going to hear a lot about that next week, so stay tuned. We'll hear from the team. And now time for that toast and adjournment. President Ronald Reagan said, "There's nothing better for the inside of a man than the outside of a horse." Here's to the Tucson Rotary, I can't even say it myself, Tucson Rodeo, a proud Tucson tradition since 1925. We are adjourned. Hear, hear.
Good job, Herb.
Thanks, Tim.
Good to see you.
Robert, happy birthday,
Mark,
my friend.
thank you, appreciate it. Tim, as always, it's a
Well,
pleasure
yeah, it's
sitting
always
with you.
fun
Our annual catch up.
to renew and say hello.
That's it. See how we do the next year, right?
Exactly. Hey, Bobby, how are you?